Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Emily, can you hear me? You getting anything? Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. See, you got to hit.
Get him an answer while he's sitting here, that way he doesn't answer.
Right. Good morning. Good morning. Today, I am pleased to submit a balanced 2018-2019 proposed budget to City Council for their consideration. This budget was prepared with significant citizen input and was designed to limit the burden on taxpayers while still investing in infrastructure, public safety, and important programs and services. This budget year was not easy, and while comparable cities in New York face similar challenges as Rochester, with some proposing significant layoffs of police and firefighters, other major reductions in workforce, service reductions, tax increases, and even the complete depletion of their reserve funds, we are able to deliver a balanced budget that maintains services, uses appropriate fund balances, and applies efficiencies within while relying on only a modest tax increase. Despite our financial challenges, we continue to invest in our citizens and in important job-creating growth for our city, all while maintaining the highest levels of fiscal management and discipline. This budget maintains critical fire and police services, invests in new neighborhood-based police section offices, and other critical public infrastructure. As I've said, it is balanced and it is below the New York State property tax cap. The total typical homeowner burden, which is a combination of taxes and fees, increases by a modest $43.37, or 1.85%. That adds up to less than $1 a week. I am also pleased that once again, our budget includes significant involvement from our citizens who participated in a telephone town hall meeting and facilitated open access meeting at City Hall and an online survey. We're launching a new Community Affairs Bureau at the Police Department and funding both police and fire recruitment classes to continue our community-focused police reorganization. Additionally, we will add a significant $59 million investment in needed public infrastructure, including the acquisition and design of the new police section offices. And I'm pleased to say that we are proposing to the community for review a new site for our Northwest Police Section Office, and we're in final negotiations with the property owner. We propose to revitalize the corner of Lake Avenue and Route 104 on the old Peeler Pontiac property across from Eastman Business Park. Albany is investing $50 million in capital funding for various job-creating Rock the Riverway projects, possibly including capital investment at the convention center, arena, and other public infrastructure along the Genesee River. Governor Cuomo and our local state legislative delegation continue to provide significant assistance with important infrastructure and other job-creating funding like Rock the Riverway, and we are grateful for their leadership and investment. But our AIM aid was held flat. This flat allocation of AIM aid, coupled with the mandated maintenance of effort payment, continues to present Rochester with a major fiscal challenge when preparing a balanced budget. If Rochester were to receive AIM aid commensurate with ratios used in other cities, sister cities, Buffalo or Syracuse, our mandated maintenance of effort expense would not create yearly budget deficits, and we will continue to work with state leaders to achieve similar funding as per our peer cities. A fund balance of $16.8 million is used to balance the budget, along with a portion of our enterprise fund balances to support capital needs in those funds. Rates will remain steady for refuge and local works, with only a modest adjustment to water meter charges. The budget continues to focus on our three priorities: more jobs, safer, more vibrant neighborhoods, and better schools and educational opportunities. Under the more jobs category, there's continued support for anti-poverty initiatives, such as the new worker-owned cooperatives, Kiva, which provides crowd-funded microloans for entrepreneurs, our MAPI and city initiatives that focus on access to credit for small businesses. The budget supports the Interloop East development and Rock the Riverway. We're also directing funds to better track MWBE participation goals for city projects. The budget continues funding for the Rochester Environmental Job Training ReJob program and increases support for young adult manufacturing training employment program. This is part of an expanded focus on vocational training and hands-on work experience through partnership with local employers. The Summer of Opportunity program and our Urban Fellows program will also continue. Under the Safer, More Vibrant Neighborhoods, we're budgeting to acquire and design the new police section offices, and we're providing for a new Community Affairs Bureau to strengthen police-community relations. Plus, we have additional funding to train new recruits for police and fire departments. We continue to address problems in our neighborhoods by providing for the demolition of vacant and abandoned structures, plus helping homeowners through the roofing and emergency assistance repair programs. We're also providing for quality of life teams in our neighborhood service centers to focus on commercial corridor improvements. We will complete the Campbell R Center upgrades, which include a new plate apparatus and spray park. There's more capital support for our libraries, including the North Terrace project. This budget also adds money for security at special events and to update and implement our new nuisance abatement law. Under the Better Schools and Educational Opportunities category, we continue to put a high priority on our successful developmental program for 3-year-olds. We're providing more children's services and expanded hours at Arnett and Douglas Branch libraries, and we're continuing to partner with the Rochester City School District to provide literacy aids in our libraries and our centers. Support for our literacy program includes Raising a Reader and Safe to Be Smart, and in the absence of the AmeriCorps grant, we're extending funding for financial literacy in early childhood programs. A new sports magnet program at the Campbell R Center will help kids with sports training and fitness conditioning, and we continue our collaboration with the Rochester City School District, focusing on violence prevention through our Pathways to Peace program. One of the more exciting additions to the budget this year is a new state-of-the-art nutrition center and demonstration kitchen at the public market. Along with these investments, we're also looking to save money over long term by focusing on innovation and efficiency. We'll finish implementing the new personnel payroll system and look at recommendations for an organizational efficiency study. We're also saving money as we continue the program to replace our streetlights with energy-efficient LED lights. Additionally, we'll begin our first full budget year with a new traffic violations agency, which will enhance local revenue and empower our residents with the same legal protections as their suburban counterparts. And we will continue working with RGRTA, looking into alternative modes of transportation, such as bike share, car share, and van pool, along with expanding hours at our 311 operational center. These investments and improvements come despite a budget process that began with a $47.6 million budget gap. This sizable gap was closed through a combination of expense reductions and revenue enhancements, including adjustments to the planned capital spending, lower than expected pension and retirement medical costs, department reductions and efficiencies, and adjustments to the debt service, among other cost-saving measures. We relied on some additional revenue from payments in lieu of taxes, general fund balance, and enterprise fund balances for capital. We've got a modest property tax increase and additional sales tax revenue. Other revenue comes from having brought traffic violations in-house, the sale of property, mortgage and delinquent taxes, and consolidated highway improvements, or CHIPS. It draws on premium and interest to pay debt service, some surplus from the Healthcare Rate Stabilization Fund, and adjustments to the CDBG and SRO reimbursements. Taken all together, this budget strikes the necessary balance between fiscal prudence and investment in our community, both long and short term. Working together, we can reclaim our city by investing in our neighborhoods, in job creation, and in the education of our citizens, both young and old. The investments we make in our children and adults through our art centers, in our libraries, in our neighborhoods, and with our infrastructure, and our collective future by embracing green initiatives and energy conservation are all investments in our people. I look forward to working with City Council through the review process of the budget. I want to take a moment to thank our senior management team for submitting their budgets and for giving us an opportunity to serve our citizens. I also want to thank our budget team, led by Chris Wagner, for their hard work in giving us a balanced budget. We anticipate that we will have no layoffs, even though we have 9 displacements. All 9 people have been offered other positions. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to your team. Let's give them a big round of applause. Lastly, I want to thank all of our employees here at the City of Rochester. You do an exceptional job of serving our citizens. I truly, truly appreciate all the work that you do on a daily basis, hitting the pavement, doing what you need to do to serve the citizens of Rochester. With that being said, I'll turn it over to our Budget Director, Chris Wagner, to go through very fine points on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'd like to start by thanking the staff in the Budget Office for all their hard work, and I'll name them. Sarah Boyce, Matt Cahill, Charlotte Davenport, John Fornoff, Joe Mistico, Sarah Ruckberg, Josephus Tisdale, and Suzanne Warren. Really, thanks for all your dedication. Appreciate it. I also want to thank the senior management team for all their hard work throughout the process. The proposed 18-19 budget's $539,646,900, and as the mayor said, 2.4% higher than the current amended budget of $527,818,400. So the increase is really inflationary in nature. We closed our $47.6 million all funds gap through a combination of expense reductions and revenue increases in use of fund balance. Expense reductions totaling about $16.1 million. Most of that was adjustments to planned capital spending of $12.2 million. So even though we're up $4 million year over year on capital spending, it's down $12.2 million from what we showed in year 2 of the capital program. Lower than projected pension and retiree medical expense of $1.9 million. Departmental reductions and efficiencies of $1.3 million, and adjustments to debt service of about $750,000. On the revenue side, again, about $31.5 million between revenue and fund balance. The bulk of that was additional use of fund balance of $10.2 million. We plan to use a certain amount in our multi-year projection. We're using 10.2 more than we anticipated. Increased revenue of $4 million results from the property tax increase the mayor mentioned. Additional use of enterprise fund balances to support capital in those funds, about $3.5 million. Our sales tax has been performing strong, so we're recognizing additional sales tax revenue of about $2.4 million. We use additional premium and interest to help pay debt service, $2.3 million. We benefit from the sale of real property, including Interloop East parcels, about $2 million. We have property shifting from the tax base onto the commuter roll. That helps raise commuter revenues about $1.5 million. We benefit from surplus from our healthcare rate stabilization fund, bringing $1.5 million there. And our overall net revenue increase from the Traffic Violations Agency of about $800,000. So then there's additional revenue of about $3.25 million from a variety of sources, including fee increases, reimbursement for SROs, advertising revenues, land bank reimbursements, delinquent taxes. There's a long list that brings up to that $3.25 million. So again, overall, $31.5 million on the revenue side, $16.1 million on the expense side. As a reminder, only about 33% of the tax levy is left to pay for city services after the $119.1 million that we give to the city school district. As the mayor mentioned, the budget assumes the use of about $16.8 million of our general fund balance to close our gap. We had a general fund balance of $90.5 million at the end of fiscal 17. We used a little over $15 million to help close the current year gap. Based on our third quarter projections, we expect to replenish most of that $15 million. So our use of $16.8 million to close the 18-19 budget gap keeps us well above our prescribed minimal fund balance of $59 million. Year over year, the budget is up 9 full-time positions attributable to the Traffic Violations Agency. That being said, there are some other additions and subtractions throughout departments, including the addition of full-time librarians at the Douglas and Larned branch libraries. In all, there are 9 employees displaced, but we believe we found positions for all those employees, so there will be no layoffs. The budget includes a levy increase of just under $4.2 million, again, which complies with the state tax cap. There is no increase to refuse or local works charges, and a modest adjustment to the base meter charges in water. The effect of all this is that the typical homeowner burden will increase by $43.37. I would point out that the basic star exemption will also increase, so that'll mitigate some of that $43.37 by about $7.61. Tax rates, in addition to the levy increase, are impacted by increased veterans and disability exemptions on the homestead side. So homestead taxable assessment actually declines by about $9.5 million because we're adding those exemptions. On the non-homestead side, taxable assessment decreases by about $55 million due to special franchise reductions, which is RG&E, as well as properties shifting to commuter. And the impact of those two things alone on the business side is about $216. As for the process going forward, City Council will conduct hearings on the budget June 4th, 12th, and 13th, and City Council votes on the budget June 19th. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Again, on behalf of Deputy Mayor Cedric Alexander and I would like to thank our exceptional employees as well as our senior management team. Our budget director and his team spent long days and nights trying to figure out and close this budget gap, but we appreciate them for their hard work and for their service, and we will take any questions at this time. Well, we have seen a significant increase in capital investment. However, what AIM funding gives us the ability to do is unrestricted aid, and we can use those dollars the way that the city sees fit. Holding it flat for us and comparable to what Syracuse received in Buffalo, even though it's held flat across the state, it puts us in a situation where, because of the maintenance of effort that we are mandated to provide to our city school district, it puts us at a disadvantage. All of those cities, both Buffalo and Syracuse, get enough AIM funding to cover their contribution to the school district. And we have requested that the state allow us to do the same thing. We recognize that that would be a significant increase for us, but we will continue to go to Albany and make that case. We do appreciate the capital investment that have been made in the city of Rochester, but we do recognize that we're always starting at a negative point when it comes down to this because of that maintenance of effort. So under the new Community Policing Bureau, the current community police officers, CPOs, that are in the neighborhood service centers, as well as our SROs, which are located within our schools, will be reporting to the Deputy Chief, LaRon Singletary. Our goal is to make sure that we are able to combine those resources to do more effort in community outreach. We recognize that community policing is something that is not just in a specific bureau, but it has to be across the board. But our hope is that we continue to build relations with our community so that we can continue to reduce the crime that's happening in our community and our city. And being able to talk to neighbors and get out and walk and spend time on bikes and in neighborhoods is something that I know that the Deputy Chief under the Chief Simonelli's direction has planned, and they have a whole slate of different activities as well as relationship building programs that they will be doing to increase our involvement in our community. So we are in final negotiations and we'll be talking to the community about the current site in the Northwest. We believe that this is centrally located and will revitalize a area that in support of what's happening at Eastman Business Park. We will also, we have some sites identified for the other two. We are working with our neighborhood and business development team as well as our DES and our police department to make sure that those sites will actually fit into what they are looking for. But we anticipate at least this year having one other location that we can announce shortly. Any additional questions? Thank you all. Appreciate it.